All right. Hello, hello. Uh, this view is not working right now. Let me bring it to the... I hope this looks better, at least for the time being. I'll take this short while I talk to you guys, and I'll keep this short, I promise. Uh, Not much really. I just didn't know what to stream, or I actually just made it up so much in my head that I just kept building this stream up, and I just didn't know what to stream and how to stream until my wife told me just go for it. So this is me just going for it. This may turn out bad. This may turn out awful. I just don't really care anymore. Okay. I do have a topic in my head. I want to talk about guard clauses. By the way, who am I? What am I doing here? Why? What is all of this? And what do you get to take out of this? We'll talk about it maybe in a later stream. Right now, I just want to talk about the guard clauses, and that's what we are going to do. Okay. Now I think it's about time we go to the earlier screen, the one that I can show my, one of the two screens that I have. I have a screen here. I have a screen here. It's a I'd like to think it's a very good setup, but that being said, let me put it here. Okay. I hope this looks fine. By the way, what are guard clauses? And I'll talk about it really quickly. I have written some sort of an intro, and I'll be doing myself a disservice if I talk about it. But like I said, not today. Not today. Just know that this is a series that I've started in which I take you from being a junior or a mid-level developer all the way to a senior developer. I come with 8 years of experience in web development. I also do mobile development. I dabble with DevOps, and I'm a hobby game developer. I do a lot more. We'll talk about it a little later. Maybe not in this stream at all. That's pretty much it. That's like I have a whole intro written here on the screen, but I'll just focus on the other side of the screen so that I can demonstrate what I have planned for you. Right. First of all, what are guard clauses? And I think to talk more about it, it will be helpful if I give you an example first. Right. And to do that, let me just quickly open my terminal. Only if I can type properly. Right. And yep. Is it too small? I think it is. Let me make it bigger. I hope this is okay. Right? Let me make it a little more bigger. I hope this is good. Okay. Let's start by creating a directory. Let's call it guard clauses, and let's cd into this directory. Okay. And in here, I need to make a node project. So why don't I just simply do an index.js, right? And open this in a in a text editor. Okay. Let me go here. Okay, it's empty right now. I'd pretty much like it to be empty. And no, GitHub Copilot, I'm not going to look at you right now. Okay. Let's just get rid of the Explorer. I don't need it right now. What I do need to show you is this example. I mean, consider this. Conditions are something that we all of us web developers deal with, I think, on the regular, I think on the daily. And conceptually, it's a very easy concept to understand. Like, if a certain set of conditions are matched, run this piece of code, otherwise, which is else, or else if that, for that matter, else run some other piece of code, or run some other piece of code. It's as simple as that, right? And that is what I'm going to give you an example of. So let's just consider a point wherein, okay, I'll just make some variables in, and I'm using ES6, by the way. not that it matters in this tutorial, in this whatever this is, in this video. It doesn't really matter what version of JavaScript that I'm using, ECMAScript to be precise. But let's just entertain me, right? I'm doing I'm doing this more for myself, for my own entertainment, if not for anyone else's. Let's just make a couple of variables. Let's call this as network is logged in and is admin is equal to true. And the way I'm declaring and initializing these variables is not a very traditional way of doing this. In fact, I'll not recommend this way of doing this. It's just that I'm doing this in the interest of space because I know what I intend to do later. So initializing them in this manner doesn't really matter as much. If need be, I'll separate them out into different initializations later. But for now, let's just go with this. Okay. And let's just simply consider a scenario wherein I have to run a certain piece of code only if I have network and I'm logged in and then I'm the admin. So only then maybe, let's say, I get a message saying that I'm the admin, right? And that's what we are going to replicate. So handle admin login. And let's make it into an arrow function. Okay. And this is where we usually put our, not usually, this is where we put our conditions. And usually we put it this way. In fact, most of the junior or mid-level people that I know, most of the seniors that I know put it this way. It's intuitive when we write, but it's counterintuitive when we read about it. I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So let's just say if has network, okay, and then if I have autofill by VS Code, why not use it? If is logged in, inside this there goes another condition, and this is if is admin, right? Then we run some certain piece of code, which is something like print admin info. Now this is a function which I have not made yet. I'll come to this later, but just know that I'll put some comments here saying that I haven't made this function yet. I will make this function in just a while. Okay, mostly for my own information. Also, it's a good practice to comment your code out properly. Right now I'm using this just for myself, so not for anyone else, right? And I should have used if else instead of this, but anyway, else just simply say that it is, let's just log not an admin. Okay, I'll tell you the hierarchy of what's happening. Just give me a second. Okay, here goes another else. It goes here, and this says, this is another log which says not logged in. And this has to be another console log which simply says don't have network. Now the way I've done this is a little atypical, but I can follow the logic and I can make you follow the logic as well. So it's kind of very simple, right? This is an if else condition that if has network run this piece of code. So if we have network, run this piece of code. Otherwise, run this piece of code. Simple enough, right? Let me be a good developer and put my semicolons. Not that it really matters in JavaScript, but I just like to do it the proper way. Yeah, as I was saying, if it has network, run this piece of code between these parentheses. Otherwise, else run this. Similarly, if it's logged in, then run this piece of code between these two parentheses. Otherwise, run this. Simply log not logged in. Turned out to be a tongue twister right there. Just put myself into such situations. I'm such a dummy. Anyway, and the last part is if is admin. That is when we run this function called print admin info, which I haven't written yet, and I just will. So you know what? Let's just go ahead and write this function, just so that we know that it's working. Let's just make this program work for right now. Okay. So what are we doing? Yep. Let's do a print admin info. Let's again make this into an arrow function, and let's just log. What do we log? Yeah, just hey Sarthak, you're the admin. It's good. Yeah, that's good. You'll also notice that I've used backticks here, essentially template literals, which I should go ahead and use everywhere. I'll get into a habit of doing that when I'm streaming, because I usually use template literals when I'm coding, and just like I said, use in a habit of using ES6 features. Okay, that being said, now let's just run this code. This code will not run until I handle admin login to this and run this code using something like a index.js. What the hell happened here? Oh, okay. Yep. Typo. That's what happened. Typo. Everyone does that. You'll also notice that I've not made a package.json. I've not declared this into modules. I don't need to. I simply need to do this. If is admin. Oh, come on. I just can't write properly. Can I? Hopefully there are no more typos. Okay. Hey Sarthak, you're the admin. That's what I was going for. Also, if you'll notice, I'll keep my mistakes in. The idea is you see the approach, the way I do it, and you learn from it, because we all make mistakes. We all make typos, silly typos like this. And let's not beat ourselves over it. Let's strive for, you know, excellence, not perfection. There's a slight difference. Perfection as in, I mean, write good code. Maybe, you know, essentially what I'm trying to say is everyone makes mistakes. Let me not fall over my words. And as you can see, I'm actually going extempore here, right? Now this is an example of, this is a very intuitive way of writing. Let's come back to the topic. This is a very intuitive way of writing in which I've written that if to handle the admin login, if I have network, then I go into one piece of code, else I print don't have network. And you know, for the sake of clarity, I'll do this. This works? Yep. Yep, for the sake of clarity, I'll do this. If I have network, if I am logged in, and if I am admin, then let me make it grammatically correct. Is okay. Another way of doing it, I'll come to the tips and tricks later. You'll find so many of these on Twitter. I'll not bother telling about the smaller tips and tricks. I assume that you can get that information from Twitter, from all these you know, influencers that you see. I'm just going to give you the meat of it, right? So like I said, let's make this false. Let's run this again. You'll see don't have network. Okay. let's then have network, make this false that I'm not logged in. Not logged in. Okay. Let's not make me an admin and not an admin. Essentially, it's a very simple logic if you follow it. That and then, like I said, like I keep saying, it's a very intuitive way of writing. Let me check my camera here real quick. Great. Like I said, a very intuitive way of writing wherein if I have network, if I don't have network, if I have network, run this piece of code, otherwise print the other part, do the other part, which is don't have network. This is what I coded out to be, and so on and so forth, all the way down the line, right? And while it is intuitive to write, you'll very quickly notice it is not very intuitive to read if you are on the other side of it. Let's say if I'm reviewing this piece of code, this is an absolute I'd write a comment here for the developer that I'm reviewing it for, that, you know, refactor this into more readable piece of code, refactor this into guard clauses. And let's come back to guard clauses, what guard clauses actually are. Guard clauses are simply, how do I put it? It simply checks for one condition, truthy or falsy, and runs that. Checks all this condition, otherwise runs a default piece of code. The way I'm describing it, it sounds so much like switch case right now, which is what's going on in your, which is what should be going on into your head, but not right, not like that, right? Yeah, let's actually, you know, refactor this into a guard clause, and I can maybe give you a better example then. Okay, so let's just talk about first the problems that I have with this code. It's, as you can see, this makes it into a, you know, a callback hell, a readable hell, essentially. A bad way of presenting your code. It's not maintainable. It's not readable, as I've said before. And while this is counterintuitive to read, I'm repeating myself. I'll go ahead and refactor this into guard clauses, for which let me simply first comment this piece of code out. And let's go on and write this in guard clauses. Right. I'll start with the handle admin login function again. Okay. But this time, instead of checking if I have the value, I'll check if I don't have the value. So if, again, I need to put the else case now, because simply if I have it, I'll go into the, if this resolves, if the if statement resolves, if the condition resolves, I'll go in, otherwise I'll simply stay out of the loop. I'll not go into the else situation. I'll show you what I mean by that. Right, so if has network, right? No, I'm not checking for the truthy value, I'm checking for the falsy value. And simply says if doesn't have network, console.log. Yeah. You don't have network, right? I'll do this twice more actually. If have network, similarly, if is logged in, you aren't logged in. Similarly, the last piece is is admin. No, you don't seem to be the, come on, I need to be able to type properly. And yeah, simply return. Don't need to go any way further if we have resolved this. So return. Simple. And if all these situations are handled, the only situation left is not handle admin login. Oh, print admin info. Yep. Print. Come on. Admin info. And that should be that. Should work the exact same as above. Let me just make it look better. Okay. Right. Okay, that should be that. And let me first run it. Hey, Sarthak, you're the admin. That part works. Now let's see what happens if I don't have the network. If I don't have the network, it will simply check that I don't have the network. That this statement, this condition will resolve truthy, and it will print this, get out of the function, and that's the end of the discussion. Similarly, I'll just show you actually. Let me just do this. You don't have network. Simple as that. This this approach puts a lot less executional overhead on the JavaScript that's running behind it, and not just JavaScript, any programming language that we choose to implement this in, right? So let's bring this back to true. Let's do this. Let's make is logged in as false. Now I'm not logged in, right? So it should print this part. You aren't logged in. Okay. What, did I not put anything there? Is logged in, false. I didn't just do anything actually. You aren't logged in, as expected. Let's make this true again. And for the last part, let's make is admin false. And yeah. Node index.js, you don't seem to be the admin. That's the expected result. And if I make all of them true, it should simply run this. This brings the complexity down to 3x. I'll talk about complexity. It's a different beast altogether, but essentially the constants of the complexity go out, and the complexity simplifies a lot. It puts a lot less executional overhead on whichever programming language that you're doing this in, especially JavaScript, since it's single-threaded, right? Node, in this case, is what I mean. Okay, print admin info. In this case, if you've noticed, it has gone, consecutively down the line of this if statements, of these conditions. Essentially, I've nested if statements inside if statements along with their else counterparts. Like I said, this is much easier to read, much easier to maintain and extend. Let's say I have to add another condition sometime down the line. It should be as simple as just doing this, add the new condition, and execute the condition. Let's make this into a variable as well, just to test this out. Const new condition. True. Oh, I didn't put the assignment operator in between. This works. Let me make this into camel case. As you can see, I really like my, oh, come on. I really like doing this the right way. Really like writing clean and readable JavaScript. Okay. Now let's make new condition false. Let's just test this out. New condition. That's what was expected to print. So you can extend it later, which is, I don't know. It's kind of, it gets progressively hard in the other approach of that, you know, that waterfall approach, of that callback hill kind of approach. It gets so hard so quick. It's better to write it this way, right? And yeah, that's the session today, guys. I am going to come back real soon. Hopefully I'm not going to have as many hangups about, you know, chasing perfection, being as I've been told, good is better than perfect. That's what I'm going to go for. And yeah, I don't know how frequent I'm going to be. I aim to be at least once a week. I aim to come online and talk about some senior engineering things at least once a week. But let's see. Okay. That being said, that's the session today, guys. And for those of you who are here, oh my god. No. Oh, thank gosh. I thought I didn't change the screen. I was just talking about it without you guys seeing the screen. Oh gosh. This software sometimes trips me up. Anyway, thank you for being here today, guys, and enjoy. I'll see you again soon.